Hey everybody, welcome back to the last episode of Cinematic Relief bonus Game of Thrones podcast.
Yes.
For
Season
Season 8, Episode 6.
Forever.
No more of this podcast, and no more Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Until there
Until
is more.
The 18 spin-off shows
Yeah.
that have been confirmed.
All right.
So, if you don't mind,
Yeah, no, go for it.
before we start talking about all the stuff that you and I can't stop talking about, can we, real quick, just go over everything we liked from the episode?
Sure.
So
Well, that was a good list.
that was that was not my intention. I really liked first and foremost, the fact that Jon killed Dany. Because
Oh god.
when that scene happened, like you and I both, I was like, when he said you'll be my queen forever and always, I was like, wow, they honestly don't care what we think about Jon Snow.
Like I told you, I started looking on my phone.
Yeah.
I didn't care what happened after that.
But then, like you so accurately put, she got Kylo Ren. Or I guess she got Han Solo'd.
Yeah, she got Han Solo'd. He pulled a Kylo Ren.
But that was cool. I really like the scene after with the dragon because, as a bunch of people on Twitter pointed out, it's not Jon's fault that Daenerys is dead in the dragon's eyes. It's the throne's fault.
Yeah, I mean, that could be the case. It's left a little unspoken how intelligent these creatures are, but that could absolutely be the case. That'd be interesting, you know?
Yeah. People can't shut up about this. I really liked the shot with the dragon wings.
Yeah, there was a few definite posters we're going to see in the next couple of months just from this one episode.
This season, there was like a bunch of, like, when they're in the clouds and when the dragon is taking out the zombies, and there's like a bunch of like shots that just like are beautiful.
Yeah, that was really well done.
I appreciate a good time skip. You know, I didn't expect the time jump. I appreciated the time jump. I don't think it was used well, but I like that for the first time ever, Game of Thrones was like, time jump.
Yeah, it was a little unclear how long
if Emery wasn't watching it with us, we wouldn't have figured it out. Because you and I were like, where's the snow? Why are all these people here? And then Emery was like, oh, his beard is longer. This must be later. And we were like, oh, shit. So I guess winter came and then went.
That must have been, and again, I mean, we're talking about things we like. We'll talk about things we don't like later, but things left completely unsaid. Was that the shortest winter in winter?
Or was that
Westeros' history?
Or was that like 2 years later? You know,
Tyrion specified a couple of weeks.
Oh, couple of weeks?
That's what he said.
And
in Winter's Gone.
So that's the winter that we were all concerned about.
Right. It was a few weeks, which is fine. I just wish they said something.
The winter that literally created zombies and killed half the Night's Watch. That's the winter we were concerned about.
And it's funny, too, because there was a shot. Winter finally came to King's Landing, and Jon's walking through the snow, and I was like, how are they gonna... They can't travel if this is like a 10-year winter. Right. Like, I was just looking at the path he was walking on, and I was like, wow, that's not going to be there for long. And then it was just... then summer came.
Yeah.
Overnight.
And I won't talk about the ending yet, but I did like something in that. So yes, you and I were talking about this. Not the greatest episode, right? In the grand scheme of Game of Thrones as a show, but when you take a step back and you look at just this episode, I think it was a pretty good episode. There was a lot of, I will say this, there was a lot of nothing. there was a lot of like walking through the town took 15 minutes, and Tyrion waking up after the time skip took a minute and a half, and there was just like a lot of like shots that could have been shorter. I was telling you the other day, I think they could have done this season in 3 episodes.
And yeah, I feel like and I'm going to say what I said to you then. I feel like it could have either been 3 episodes or 9. Like, I feel like they could have explained a few things a little more, or just got it over with. Got everything done.
No, but if they truly wanted to tell the story the way they told it this season, they could have done it quicker.
Yeah.
Because they wasted my time. Like, there was a lot of, not just this episode, but the whole season, there was like burning the bodies after the war took forever. And like, there was just a lot of like, come on, we don't have much time.
We don't have time for that. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, is that would have been fine and dandy if we had more episodes, or they could have just cut all the crap out and made it 3 episodes.
Yeah.
7 wasn't enough, or 7 was too much. It depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
It could have they could have just gotten to the point, or they could have taken their time, but they couldn't have done either of those in 7 episodes.
6?
6 episodes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it could have been 3. Could have been, okay, makes my point even more concrete. Could have been 3, could have been 9. 6 was just enough to annoy us that some scenes took too long, and, just long enough to be like, okay, but it's over and there are still things I want to know.
Yeah.
But that's...
Beyond that, though, I think it was a pretty solid episode. I think it was just going back to our talk about poetry. Like, I think this is what they wanted, and this is what we got. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like everything in this episode, like, I don't want to say made sense, because there was obviously some stuff that literally didn't make sense because it wasn't explained, but like everything before the time skip was like pretty like, and then yep, this is happening. Okay, that, you know what I mean? So it was very like, I'll tell you one thing, I did not need Tyrion digging up his siblings.
No kidding.
It was just sad. I was just like, can we move on? Not because I'm bored, just because I'm like I don't want to cry, but I will.
It was funny that just the hand poking out, the gold
They
hand.
could have left it like that. But...
Yeah, I kind of thought they were going to, and then he was like, "No, I need to see their faces."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, the way I see. I guess the way I'm looking at this episode is it was a mixed bag. I don't know if I'd say it was a good episode. I'd say there was a lot of good in the episode, and there was a lot of not so good in the episode. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Like, if you want to say it was a good episode, sure, it wasn't bad.
I mean, here's my thing. The characters reacted to things and acted the way that I expected them to. Like,
for the most part.
Sure. What do you mean?
I'm
talking about Bran?
Yeah.
Okay, well, fuck him for a second. I'm talking about before the time jump.
Okay.
That's where my mind is right now.
Okay, we'll just focus on that.
Literally, like, Tyrion, like, Dany came down and gave a Darth Vader speech, check.
Right.
Tyrion showed his face, and she was like, "You let your brother go," and he was like, "You murdered a trillion people."
That was the most satisfying moment when he was like, I thought he was just gonna take the pin off, and then he was like, "Whoops."
Yeah, and then like Jon going to see Tyrion talking him down, like check.
Yeah.
Jon kills Dany, check. Like it all made, the dragon burning the throne. Like it all made sense to me, you know.
I thought that was it for Jon Snow.
I mean, they wanted you to. I
don't understand. I get it. Like, he's got a deeper connection with these dragons, but like after the initial blow wasn't directly on him, I would have been out of there. I feel like any sane person would have been like, well, time to go.
Well, also, it wouldn't have worked, right? Because he's Targaryen, and Targaryens are fireproof?
We never... that's another thing that was left open-ended. Well, not all of them. Her brother wasn't. Daenerys' brother wasn't, because he wasn't the dragon. She was the quote-unquote dragon.
Oh, I see.
Kind of like a chosen one type of situation.
Okay, then never
but
mind.
Not to say there couldn't have been more than one.
Yeah.
We never got that answer from Jon.
Right. Because they are technically generations apart.
Yeah. He could have also been, but we don't know.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I've always been a little hazy on the Targaryens are fireproof details. But yeah. So let's talk about after the time jump, because I am the one thing that has been on my mind and I can't figure it out. Like everything else, I'm think about it for a bit and I'm like, oh, okay.
Is that water bottle under Sam's foot?
No, shut the fuck up. Why does Grey Worm have so much power?
Yeah, so that's one of the things I don't understand.
Have you figured that out yet?
So here's the thing. It makes sense to me until it doesn't. So here's the way I see it.
You talk about it enough and you're like, no, it doesn't make sense again.
Right. Well, so at first, when we get introduced to the time jump and they're having their council meeting, I understand why he's in a position of quote-unquote power. It's because the Unsullied have Tyrion and Jon captive in King's Landing. He's got the leverage.
I kind of got the feeling that the Unsullied are going to be like their own city now or whatever.
So I have... I mean, we're going to get... All right, if we're going to talk about Grey Worm, let's finish this first, but I have something else I want to bring up. I don't understand... So I understand in that moment why he has power. Once things are settled with Jon Snow, I don't understand why after they chose a king, he still had enough power to be like, yeah, but take care of Jon Snow, right? It's like, well, he's my brother. I'll do what I want. I don't understand why that happened.
Right. I mean, because it worked with Tyrion.
Right. Well, that's exactly my point.
Grey Worm was literally like, no, Tyrion's also our prisoner, and Bran was like, no, he's my prisoner now.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, beans, and then he just left.
Exactly.
And then he left with Jon Snow.
Right. I don't understand what happened there. I feel like Bran's smart enough to have been like, yeah, Tyrion's going to suffer forever living a life. And I feel like he could have pulled the same crap with Jon Snow, you know?
Yeah.
So here's my issue with Grey Worm.
Yeah.
In the end of this.
Yeah, let's just focus on Grey Worm.
From a viewer's standpoint, again, I'm not gonna criticize. I'm not a famous writer.
Oh yeah.
Game of Thrones didn't hire me to write the show. But as a viewer, I can have my own thoughts on what happened. And from my standpoint, Jon got punished for doing the right thing. Taking the politics out of that time period out of it. Jon got punished for doing the right thing. Grey Worm got rewarded for doing the wrong thing, and then was pissed because Jon Snow wasn't punished. He wasn't satisfied with the fact that he got off with his life, which to me is kind of a little more than he deserved. I kind of hate Grey Worm at the end of all of this. He's literally just a meathead. Like, I was kind of hoping to get more out of him, like, for him to have his own thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, no,
but he kind of never did.
Even after Dany was dead, he was just like, no, she told me to kill, so I'll do it.
Here's the thing, too, though, is in the politics of the realm, I feel like it's at the very least frowned upon to murder captives or people who surrender.
Yeah.
And Dany gave... Here's the thing, and you made a good point.
He was following orders.
In this episode, last episode, when he killed those Lannisters after they dropped their swords, there was no orders given. Obviously, there was a subliminal message when Dany took off with it.
Yeah.
But the only orders that were given, the Queen gave 0 orders in this fight. The Hand did.
Yeah.
Who, if the Queen doesn't say anything, as far as everybody else is concerned, is the royal rule.
Yeah.
If the Hand says something and the Queen has no response to it, that's who you follow.
Furthermore, I feel like in that particular battle, the Battle of King's Landing or whatever you want to call it, the Massacre of King's Landing, I feel like Jon Snow was in charge of the troops. So I feel like if Jon Snow said no, don't, they should have. Grey Worm had enough opportunity to listen to somebody and not do that. And then when he did it, all his Unsullied were like, oh, well, our leader, Grey Worm.
And here's the thing. I understand why Grey Worm did it. They killed his girlfriend. He's mad. I get that. I understand he couldn't hold it in. He was angry and he was going to fight somebody. But at the end of the day...
No, it was definitely in character.
Right. It was absolutely in character. It was, a little thirst quenching for him and people who enjoy his character.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, at the end of this episode, that still shouldn't have been tolerated.
No.
And he acts like he has the high ground to Jon Snow. He kind of doesn't, and I don't understand why not only does he get off scot-free, but he's rewarded. And then it pisses me off to no end that he's not even satisfied with his reward, because the guy who killed one, if you want to call her innocent person, didn't get killed.
Mm.
He kind of got a fate worse than death, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But as far as Grey Worm's concerned.
Yeah.
But it just bothers me. Like, that scene with them, he's on the boat looking at Jon Snow like, ooh, you didn't get enough. I kind of wish Jon Snow kind of looked down like, oh, I know. I kind of wish he looked at him like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
you get off.
All the complaints that you and I have in this moment about Grey Worm are just go back to they didn't tell us why he has so much authority.
Yeah.
Because, like, that scene, that particular scene with that look where he looks up at Grey Worm and then he's like, oh, no, I've been a bad boy. And then he looks down, would have hit better if I knew what the fuck the dichotomy of these two characters were.
Yeah. I don't understand. I don't understand why he was just set free and got rewarded.
Grey Worm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For being kind of a complete a-hole in sheep this last season.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So let's talk about the council meeting of the most important people in Westeros, as they put it.
Okay. It was that was a cool scene. It really I'm sorry. You're not talking about
No, I'm talking about when they
the
made
small
Bran
council.
king.
Yeah. Okay. Good and bad for this part?
Yeah,
okay.
let's just open the floor to talk about that scene.
It was definitely interesting. I mean, to start right from the get-go, this is where the time jump initiated.
Yeah. It was first, I will say, in defense of this scene, it was really fucking cool to finally see all these characters just there and talk. Like, even, I forget his name, but even the little Robin Aaron, that's his name. Even Robin Aaron was there. Like, every character I would have wanted there was there except Tormund. But, you know, obviously he has no reason to want to be there.
Right. Right. I'm sure he didn't even know what was going on.
Right, yeah. I was a little confused that Sansa said Winterfell will remain in a free kingdom like it always has, because I feel like this whole show they haven't been, because Tyrion said ruler of the Six Kingdoms, and I feel like that was in reference to the fact that Winterfell is going to be independent.
Yeah.
But they've been saying Seven Kingdoms this whole
forever.
time, so Winterfell has not been independent, at least on the show.
I mean, so hopefully one of the spin-offs address that, but from my understanding, for the thousands of generations the Targaryens have been on the throne, it's been 7 kingdoms. So, yeah, that was a little weird.
It was just a weird it wasn't weird that she was like, we want to be independent.
No.
It was weird that she said, like it always has.
Right, exactly. That was the weird part. Cool ending for Winterfell.
No, yeah, that's
but,
I support that.
Yeah.
Plot thread.
But the wording was definitely weird for her.
I thought it was in poor taste that in the last moments of Game of Thrones life they took a time to make not one but 2 jokes. Because I was just like, can we not joke? Can we get to it?
Oh, I know.
There was the scene where he's fixing the chairs, and then there was the scene where Sam was like, let's start a democracy, and then everyone started laughing at him. I even said it in the moment. I was like, they're laughing. I'm not laughing. This isn't funny.
No, it's kind of an important scene. What was the first one?
The one where Tyrion's fixing the chairs in the small council, and then they come in and they mess up the chairs, and he's like, no, the chairs.
Oh. See, I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah, because they tried to add a moment of levity right at the end, and I was like, can we not?
Yeah. I mean, they even threw another joke out there. Bran, my favorite one. You said it.
The wheelie legs, no feeling.
Yeah. How screwed up was that?
No, I don't.
There's so many better names for him.
No, there is. Bran the All-Knowing, Bran the Space God,
Bran the Three-Eyed Raven, any of them.
Bran the time-traveling wizard monk. No, but that wasn't a joke. I don't think that was.
Oh, well, it was direct in reference to his legs. Like, there's so much more to that character than his friggin'
Right.
legs.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was just. I'm just saying, if you're gonna talk about jokes, to me,
Yeah.
that was kind of also a joke.
No, it
that
was
I
funny.
like,
I don't think it was supposed to be a joke.
I guess there's just, if it wasn't, bad choice of his name. There's so many better choices.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how Bran is king now.
Okay.
Because you had a lot of good points at Taco Bell earlier.
So, first and foremost,
Good decision.
from a story standpoint, it is a good decision. From a viewer standpoint,
if you were in that council, would you have also?
oh yeah, he totally makes sense. Here's the thing, especially how they're going to pick kings from now on.
Yeah.
Which is a slight step towards democracy. It's definitely
Right.
better than what they were doing.
No, I like that part. I like a lot.
Yeah.
If we got not that I want this or we'd ever get this, but if we got 8 more seasons of Game of Thrones, I'd be really curious to see how this kingdom functions with a all is fair. Everyone decides who gets.
Well,
to be
not
king.
everybody, but the council.
I guess what I'm saying is I'm interested to see Westeros when there is no Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Which is totally obliterated when you have this this pseudo democracy, we'll just pick the next king when Bran kicks it, which I don't think he can.
Well, yeah. Well,
but,
no, I mean,
you know.
he can definitely. That's kind of the interesting thing too. Did they just create a total? No, that's not the word I'm looking for. An undying emperor. You know what I mean?
That would have been a cool name, Bran the Immortal.
I don't know if that's the case. Here's the thing.
Can your name change?
He can definitely die. Did you hear Emery? He was like, first order of business, changing that name. But now I'm just thinking of the name. I forgot what I was gonna say.
About Bran?
We saw the other three-eyed raven die. He can be killed.
Yeah.
But can he die naturally?
Right.
That's the question. But no, he's definitely a good choice. And the way they're gonna be picking kings, I mean, I'd like the omni-knowing guy to be able to pick his predecessor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the word. No, his predecessors before him. Successor. I'd like. That's definitely going to be on the right path.
Yeah.
If Bran's like, hey, nudge, nudge, pick that guy next. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so beyond that, that's from a show standpoint. If I was in the show, he's definitely a fantastic pick. But I'm going to use the analogy I used earlier.
Yeah.
There's an episode of Bob's Burgers, right? I'm going to compare Game of Thrones to Bob's Burgers real quick, which is funny because Game of Thrones has been brought up multiple times on Bob's Burgers.
Cool. I myself have only seen maybe 2 episodes of Bob's Burgers.
That's okay. We'll get you there.
He says, but neither of us have a Hulu account.
Don't worry about it. Linda, Bob's wife, wants to do dinner and theater at the restaurant, and so she does it, and it's a murder mystery, and she has an opening monologue where she's like, there's gonna be a murder, but it's not me, like a murderer.
Yeah.
And so, flash forward to the end of the dinner theater, everybody's dead except her character, and she's like, it was me, and woman in the audience she's like, that's a twist, and a woman in the audience is like, that's not a twist, you lied to me. And I kind of feel that way about Bran. I feel like he said everything except look into the camera and said, I transcend any form of government and any logical thought these people have.
I agree with you. I feel like we weren't lied to until Bran said maybe the worst line in the show.
Yeah.
What do you think I've been doing this whole time?
Yeah. It was just, I was like, oh, good choice, but like you didn't warn me. As a matter of fact, you did the opposite. I felt like there was no way he'd ever even consider it, considering who he is now. Being
a Marvel fan and being an adult now. I really truly value subverting expectations, but like just like everything, there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it, you know?
Don't do it just to do it.
Right. And when you say that they lied to us, I agree with you and I disagree with you, because they definitely didn't tell us Bran can't be king, but they did basically tell us Dany's going to be on the throne. And even though we all kind of knew that wasn't going to happen, especially when we got to this last season,
I feel like we were given a few options.
Yeah, I feel like Bran was on the back of my mind. I was like,
oh, the very back. I even said
I thought they were going to do it. I thought they were going to Gendry was there.
Yep.
I thought they were going to do him.
He was in line. The way I see it is, if you go down the order, there's Dany and Jon.
Right at the top.
Yeah.
And then below them is like
Tyrion,
Jaime and
Jaime
and Gendry.
Beyond that, maybe Arya, Sansa, Tormund would have been funny.
Well, no, but like just like
no. My point is,
Arya
there's
and Sansa. Like if like at the end of the day, Dany's dead, Jon's on the throne. He doesn't want it. He could give it to one of them.
Right. That my point is, there's so many people I would think before Bran, and it's because the show made me feel that way.
Right.
The show told me,
which is
Bran's a weirdo now, and he doesn't care about human interaction anymore.
Right. Which is, like I said, subverting expectations. But I feel like any other character would have done. Any other character, we wouldn't be having a conversation about how this is a dumb idea and we feel lied to. Like, the fact that they picked the one character that did nothing all season, and practically not anything last season either.
Practically nothing since he met the Three-Eyed Raven.
Right. He had one season of like going back in time and discovering lore, and then he just sat.
Ruining Hodor's life.
Oh my god,
forever.
I know. For all of space and time,
because he apparently screwed up time travel in such a way that he made this character handy capable
for life, for all of infinite expanse of life and space and time. But no, and they picked the character who like his. I feel like this season his one goal was me and the Night King are linked. But even beyond that, his goal wasn't stop the Night King. His goal was, I'll help you, I guess, but like if I die, I die, and we lose.
Right.
You know. And I feel like his whole thing now is like, I don't care.
Right. And he doesn't care because I feel like he's kind of Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
I feel like maybe, like, we haven't talked about this part, but you could also say, this kid knows everything. Why didn't he tell anybody anything? And I feel like part of it is the whole Doctor Strange thing where, like, if I tell you, it might not come true, which I'm fine with. But there was so much he could do with the powers he's been given that he did nothing about it. And at the end of the day, what you're telling me is he's going to be king for the rest of his natural life.
And it's interesting you bring up Doctor Strange, because that's literally like these two... I didn't think about this until just now when you brought it up. Those two very loose plot threads that you just brought up are very similar, and one of them was done really well, and one of them was Bran Stark being on the throne.
Why do you think I made it all the way down here? I don't know, Bran. You don't talk to anybody, Bran.
I
don't tell anybody
anything. I don't
anything.
think you did, Bran. I think someone pushed you.
Well, I mean, he is truly the winner of Game of Thrones. He's had one this whole time.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I don't.
No,
I don't understand.
I am disappointed by that. What I'm not disappointed by is so now, if we may for a moment shift. Well, let's shift our focus to the small council meeting, because I thought that was maybe the best scene of the whole season.
Yeah, that was a fantastic scene. It really brought some normality. It really brought some season 1 and 2 back to
it really did, and it literally
show
that video game I keep telling you about, the Reigns video game. When you do a small council meeting, it literally felt like they were just reading the script of that video game.
Oh wow!
Because it was like Tyrion was like, and now I turn to the Master of the Coin, and the Master of the Coin was like, we could use the coin to do this. Do you want to do that? Yes or no? You know?
Yeah.
And it was just, I said it. I don't know if you heard me or not, because you were talking over me. I think that was the best scene of the whole season. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
did like that
Yeah,
scene.
no, that was a
it was
fantastic
it
scene.
was it was cool because it was all the positions you've always heard about and never cared about are now all your favorite characters. And because it was all the cool characters. It was Sam, Davos, Brienne, and Bronn, and Tyrion.
It's interesting because there were 2 seats left open, and I was kind of thinking to myself, why is that the case? We have enough main characters. A lot of them have other things to do, and I think the implication is so many people are dead right now that there's nobody suitable to really fit those 2 positions at the moment.
That's the one thing I'm okay with them leaving ambiguous.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were literally just like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. But I think it's kind of funny when you think about it. I think that was the implication of, like, anybody who would have had the spot is dead right now. So we'll figure it out.
Right. But yeah, no, that was a really cool scene. I really like that Brienne gets to be head of the Knights.
Yeah, they
or
didn't
whatever.
see. There's some things you can leave unsaid,
Right.
And we'll figure it out. That was one of them.
Right.
There's other
that
things
too,
we couldn't.
That was a great scene where she was in this armor and I didn't think anything of it. And
Me
then
too.
I saw her go to the Barristan Selmy page. I was like, oh, she's looking at all the commanders because she's the new commander.
Yeah.
And then the scene went deeper and it was like, oh, she's gonna finish Jaime's story because
Yeah.
he's dead now.
And I don't know if you remember, that was kind of a joke that Jaime's story is so short in that book.
Yeah.
So
he
that was
literally
cool.
like born Kingslayer, lost his left arm, died.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
his right arm. But that was cool. I can't stress enough how much I really, really liked the new, and it was cool. I meant to say this earlier. Sorry. The small council scene was cool because it shows that it's gonna keep going.
Yeah.
The wheel that she wanted to be broken, it's not broken. It's still pumping. It's
Yeah.
still going.
It's
the
a-
kingdom, other than the whole pseudo democracy thing.
Yeah.
The kingdom's gonna be run exactly the same way.
Right.
And you've achieved nothing, Daenerys Targaryen.
Right.
In death, you achieve nothing.
Except maybe slightly changed how they pick a king, but that could have been done without all of the death and destruction.
Yeah, we didn't need. This is where I sympathize with people who didn't like the Daenerys Targaryen choice from last episode, but ultimately I still feel like it was in line with her character, and it was a good episode, and it made a lot of sense. We didn't need another mad, balls crazy Targaryen to kill a bunch of people in order to say, like, maybe we should do democracy instead.
Right.
But
Right.
it happened, so, let's move on.
Another cool thing about that scene, they finally show us the book, kind of
Yes,
like in Lord of
yeah.
the Rings.
Yeah.
Here's the book of everything that's happened.
Oh, the book. You mean the
it-
book that he's writing in the Hobbit films?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting thing about that scene, Tyrion's not in the book.
Yeah, that.
Varys said to him a long time ago, they're not gonna tell stories about
He
you.
did.
And I thought that was so full circle, because Tyrion's not upset. And in that moment, I was like, he's thinking about the fact that Varys was absolutely right.
Yeah.
They're not gonna mention him in
that
books.
That look he gave wasn't the, well, how could they? I was so important. It was like, son of a bitch. He was
Exactly.
right, like he always was.
Yeah.
He called Varys his best friend, which was cool. He's never overtly
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah, I
he
feel like it
literally-
was definitely Bronn at one point.
He said, I lost my best friend, and I honestly was like, who does he mean? And then he said Varys. I was like, oh, shit. Oh, we lost our sound guy.
Oh my god.
Fucking drinking on the job again.
Yeah. Stay there.
Oh, man, visual gags. So now let's talk about the ending, the three Starks scene, if you will.
Okay.
So there's let's talk about what we were talking about earlier at the bell. So there's four at the end of the day, at the end of this season, at the end of the episode, there's four main characters left. Their names are Jon Snow, Arya Stark, Sansa Stark, and
Tyrion Lannister.
Two of them have pretty conclusive endings. Tyrion gets to be Hand of the King and is going to go piss on the wall again eventually. And Sansa gets to be Queen of Winterfell, her own thing. They're not part of Westeros, or they still are, but
An independent nation.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. I like that for that character. But did I ever really care about that character?
No.
Not really.
Not at all.
At
least me. I know there's some Sansa fans out there, but
Right, no. If I'm but taking a step even further back, I'm really glad that these four characters are still alive.
Yeah.
Because these are the characters that everyone's like, whenever you say who's your favorite character, they say one of these.
Yeah.
You know? Arya, I didn't mind. I thought it was okay. I know you didn't like it. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was just okay. I thought it was pretty cool.
That's the thing. It was just okay. It could have been
Well,
spectacular.
when I said that, I mean, like, I think it makes sense. Like, I wasn't... If she went back with Gendry, I would have been okay with that, too. But the fact that she didn't, the fact that she stuck to her word in regards to being with him, and the fact that she was like... Well, I'm so used to traveling now. She didn't say this, but basically the whole idea was like, I'm so used to traveling now. Everyone's crossed off my list. I guess I'll go find America.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not...
I saw a tweet, and the tweet was like, and we all thought Christopher Columbus was a dude.
Well, I mean, she could have swapped faces, but anyways.
Shut the fuck. Just say what you were going to say.
I wasn't overly upset with how her story ended. I just feel like she kind of fizzled out. She was so intense at like in season 7 and 6.
Yeah.
And she was just so gung ho.
Well, because I have a defense for that. Because she was driven by the fact that there's one more person on her list, and it's the most important person in Westeros. Now that person died, she doesn't care anymore. That's why this episode she was so weird, because it's like, Cersei's dead. What do I do? And then she took the weeks long winter to figure it out. She was like, I know what I'll do.
Yeah, I just
I think
feel
her
like
being in like a funk was in line with her character.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I guess my thing is Sansa sits on the throne. That's the end of her life.
Yes.
Fine. Tyrion's Hand of the King. That's the end of his life. Fine. Sansa, like my dad said, he was like, and then the earth was flat and she fell off. Like, I don't know what happens to Sansa.
That was maybe the funniest thing your father has ever said.
Like,
no, but I think I'm going to defend this scene one more time. I think if it showed what she found, I said it in the moment. I was like, I would have liked to see what she found. I think if they showed what she found, I would have hated it more.
Not even tell us what she found, but if I just got a description of what happens to her. I don't know what happens to Sansa forever.
And this is where my defense of this scene is kind of circling back on itself, because like at the end of the day, this was a series finale, you know, and two of the two mainest of main characters don't have a conclusive ending,
right?
Which me as a movie and television viewer in 2019 thinks sequel's coming, but it's not.
No,
because it's a television show and they already said a sequel's not coming.
Right, and it shouldn't.
And it shouldn't.
At that
right.
point, I just feel like, oh, so you're just milking me, huh?
Yeah,
you're just taking me for a ride here.
But I mean, that being said, I didn't mind it. I thought it was a pretty cool way for her story to close off.
I'm not overly upset with Arya being that open-ended.
Right.
Like I said, it would have been nice to get even just a text, a paragraph on the screen, and then she lived happily ever after.
That's why I waited until after the credits to use the bathroom, because I was like, there's got to be something, right? The last two shots were so open-ended that we have to like. So let's talk about Jon, because that. I was kind of quiet about it last night because I just like to like think, and that's why I like that we record these the next day, because like I just like to like stew and think about everything. But like I if there was just like you said, they wanted to do the shot where it's like, look at all three of the Stark kids walking, and they're all getting dressed, and you know it's super cinematographic and all that stuff. All they had to do was Jon goes to the Night Watch. He's like there. It looks like he's leading the Night Watch,
and he looks miserable.
He looks miserable. The next time you see him, he's leaving with all the wildlings. I don't know if he's going on a mission with them. I don't know if he's going to live with them. And they didn't have to say anything, because obviously the easy answer would have been like, now I'll go with the wildlings. But if they wanted to do this silent, reflective scene, which I think was a good choice, just put him in wildling clothing.
Right, that's what I said.
That's what you said. Yeah. I was gonna give you credit, of course. But just you wouldn't have to say anything.
And you're not telling me they didn't think of that. That's the thing, is they intentionally left that open-ended, and it's not artistic. It pisses me off. That's my favorite character. Are you telling me tell me if he's living a life in prison and he's just going on a mission, or tell me if he finally got the slightest bit of escape.
That's the thing. Like, did he go to the Night Watch and then they said, nah, man, just go with them?
Yeah.
Did he go there to lead them and then he snuck away? Is he going to go live with them? Is he going on a mission with them? Is he their prisoner?
Right.
Is he so miserable that he's going to go hang himself? Like,
well, that's what I remember. I said that in the episode, too. And they're doing the dress up, and, like, we see Arya on the ship, we see Sansa on the throne. And I was like, and pan to Jon hanging himself.
Like, but that's just, like, one of the many possibilities, and I'm kind of upset. Not because, like, there's been, obviously I'm not going to be able to think of a specific example, but like there's been TVs and movies where it's like, oh man, I don't know what's going to happen with this character. That's pretty interesting. Not this time.
No.
This was a 8-long season series finale. You didn't tell me what happens to the main character, and you did a bad. That's the other thing. If they left it open-ended, but they did a good job of it, that's different.
If he was in Wildlings clothes, I'd have no issues.
See, even that's a little more closed of an ending, but like you can have a character have an ambiguous open-ended ending.
Like Arya.
Right, like Arya, exactly, but they did Jon Snow's bad.
Yeah, that's the thing. When we talk about open-ended, like, I'm not upset with Arya. I would have liked a little more information, but I'm not going to make a big stink about how I don't have it. With Jon, I am.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's my guy. I don't know what happens to him.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
I know this show is like 26 main characters, but like he's the mainest of the main characters, correct?
Right. Well, and I understand there's some Daenerys fans
from season 2 on.
And yeah. And I understand, like, they want some justice, even though she definitely didn't deserve it in the end. And if you can't agree with me there, grow up a little bit.
No, I mean, I'm sorry to cut you off. I exceedingly pissed at the people who are like, the whole petition thing, you know? And I just, like, if you don't look at season 7 and 6 of Dany's arc and say, this is how it should have happened, then I don't know what's wrong with you.
You weren't paying attention to the TV show.
She literally, like, had a 3, arguably 2-episode villain arc. For a couple scenes, she was the villain. She even had a fucking Force Awakens speech. She had like a Hitler speech.
Yeah.
We're not done killing everyone speech.
That gave me chills, because I was like, and the reason that gave me chills was because Jon Snow still didn't see it. She's not done. This wasn't the end. Yeah. She's gonna conquer the world.
Yeah,
they were horrifying.
This is a good example of well-used ambiguity. The whole scene with Tyrion, there's obviously a moment where Jon in his head switches from, no, I've got to kill Dany. I have no idea when in the conversation that was.
No, and that was interesting. He's clearly afraid in that moment and doesn't know what to do. And you're right.
But so is Tyrion. But Tyrion was just like, no, this is wrong, and I don't care if I die or not. I have to say something.
Yeah, that Tyrion, that was a great episode for Tyrion.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah. I think it's the ending Tyrion deserved.
Oh yeah,
as far as his like long-standing 8-season-long arc goes.
That's what I'm saying is, like, Tyrion gets punished, but he gets like the best job there is.
Yeah,
and he's not threatened by anybody.
He gets the job that he's A, stuck with it, 2, doesn't like it, 3, is so fucking good at it.
Right. It's his dream job, even though he might not want it. He's the best option.
Yeah.
And he's going to live a life of luxury. He's going to be second in command. That's definitely not a prison sentence, like being sent to the Night Watch.
Right, yeah.
I just thought of this, and it's interesting. Thinking about Tyrion and Jon Snow, Jon Snow might have known he was leaving with the Wildlings, because Tyrion says to him, like, the last time these two speak, he's like, you're going to the Night's Watch. And I didn't hear this line, I think you said this, but Jon Snow says there's still a Night Watch, which I also have a question about. Get to that in a minute.
No, he didn't say that. Emery said that.
Oh, it's a valid question. Why is there a Night's Watch? We'll get to that in a second.
Oh, right, yes.
But, and Tyrion says, well, I'll see you in a couple of years, and Jon Snow says...
when I need to take another piss.
Yeah, and Jon Snow's like, you're never going to see me again.
Oh, and we all thought he meant because you're going to have this job, but you think he decided then and there that he was going to go with the wildlings?
That might be the case. Here's the thing. All of my questions, if I get an interview in the writers explain stuff, I'll be happy with that.
See, those piss me off, me personally. When J.K. Rowling gets on Twitter and is like, there was a Jewish character in Hufflepuff, and when fucking Anthony and Joe Russo go on an interview and they're like, Captain America was always worthy of this hammer. We just fucking fucked up. I hate that. It's like, write it into the movie or shut the fuck up.
Well, no. See, I don't want them to add scenes for me. I just want them to explain the scenes they put in. That also bothers me. I don't want them to add stuff for me. Okay. I just want them to explain a little more in depth what happened. Because maybe I'm just not smart enough to realize that was the case with Jon Snow.
Okay, I see what
you know what I'm saying? I want them to explain to me, so you idiots didn't pick up the fact that Jon Snow already told Tyrion he's not going to be at the wall.
Yeah.
You know, I want some, maybe I'm not, like I said, I'm not pretending like I know more than these directors, but I want these directors to tell me what I missed.
In the off chance that, like, you and I didn't interpret the scene the way we were supposed to.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, no, that makes sense. So yeah, let's talk about the wall, because I wasn't thinking about this, and then you or Emery or whoever, we watched this episode with Emery, by the way, brought it up. Why is there a Night's Watch? Because the
There's
reasons
no
for
reason
the
for
wall was to keep out the wildlings, and it was to keep out the zombies.
There was a third reason I can't remember, and it didn't matter.
All the zombies are dead, and all the wildlings are, like, chaotic good.
Yeah.
You know? So
and here's the thing. At this point, honest to God, I expected us to go there and there not be a wall. Because, side note, if somebody wanted to do harm to Westeros from the wildling territory, there's a hole in the wall.
Yeah. You can't tell me that hole got patched up in
three weeks.
3 weeks to 2 months. Yeah.
The 3-week-long winter.
You mean the wall that took, like 70 years to build or something stupid like that?
Yeah. It's a passage at this point, and it's a broken passage because there's a hole in it. And
I guess, like,
if you could have 5 guys watching that wall, and why does it? Here's the thing. I understand it's a border, so it's smart to have
border control,
a border control there.
Yeah.
But why does it still have to be a prison sentence? Why can't you just have guards?
Right, that's the thing. I
get paid to be there.
I think. And I'm not sure about this. A theory I just came up with just now. Maybe they're doubling down on it being a prison sentence. Maybe the only function for the Night Watch now is if you need to be punished, but not punished by death, you go to the Night Watch. And that's all it is now. It's like because that would even play in, like, now the Night Watch have no job. So it literally is a prison sentence. Like,
right.
You know how they give prisoners jobs, but it's just like, smash this rock to build character.
Yeah.
Now it's literally that, you know?
Yeah, I mean it stinks, but yeah, I mean you're right. They just have no purpose, and that would make sense if it was just
right.
The joke is it is a joke.
Right. If all the other reasons are gone and it's just like, well, the Night Watch is still there, let's use it as a containment facility, and we'll keep the same shitty rules and everyone will hate it, but it's because it's sort of a prison.
Yeah. It's just interesting. I honestly halfway expected the wall to be done with, just because no other border in Westeros has any type of function to stop people from coming in.
Right.
So why this one? Especially if Winterfell is going to be its own nation.
Right.
You know, there's
you're saying of all the nations to have a wall of sorts?
Right.
Yeah.
Why Winterfell with the wildlings, who are kind of practically one and the same at this point?
Yeah.
If there's any people...
Fucking Night's Watch and wildlings have like a bi-weekly brunch now.
Yeah, exactly. If there's... honest to God, I thought Tormund was the leader of the Night's Watch at this point.
That'd be cool. Yeah, it was literally the only reason he was at the Night's Watch was because Jon was coming. And him and Jon are friends. I'm so retroactively pissed at the people who were upset that Jon didn't pet the dog in the other episode, because like obviously they didn't film this episode in between that backlash and now.
Right.
So like obviously their plan the whole time was no, wait for the pet. He'll pet him in the last episode. And as it happened, I was like, yeah, you fuckers were wrong. Because they made up a bullshit excuse. They were like, oh well, he's CGI, so you can't pet him.
Right.
And everyone was like, there are other things that are like
CGI in this.
No, there's other things that have white fur. You could just do it close up. Like it doesn't have like it's not that hard, but it's because they were waiting.
No, well, that was kind of the joke. It's like, so Daenerys can ride a dragon,
right?
But Jon Snow can't pet
his super fucked dog.
Oh my god, poor. I can't believe he survived. I knew his name. My thought, the train just kept rolling.
Yeah, no.
Because I was just thinking about him, and I was like, I cannot believe he survived. He was in the front lines.
He was with the Dothraki that ran. Yeah,
and we never saw him come back.
No,
that's another issue I have, by the way.
Oh yeah,
bad job telling
us. Let's talk
us
about that briefly. There was what, if I may. What Chris is referring to is in the Battle of the Dead. Is that what we're calling it? The Battle of the Night?
Yeah. Either one of those works for me.
They did that thing where all the Dothraki led the charge, and then they all died instantly. And
except for like 6 that came back.
Yeah, except for the very few that came back. And then, battle, 45 minutes later, there was like, I'm going to highball it, there was like 10 to 50 Unsullied like left.
Right.
That I could visibly see. Cut to last episode and this episode, there's so many Unsullied still, and there's like a shit thousand Dothraki still, which makes me think that Daenerys didn't bring everything she had to the Battle of the Dead.
Which adds to her character.
Which adds to her villain arc that I really can't stress enough, I super appreciate. But because it's just like Cersei the villain. It's a step... Ooh. I think they did it on purpose. Because Cersei sent nobody. Because Cersei is the villain. Daenerys is becoming the villain in that episode, so she only sent like half or a third or whatever.
See, it's extremely interesting, that thought you just had. Tell us a little bit, though, even if it's in an interview.
Oh,
I'm sick of every aspect of this.
Did I just make that up, or did they plan that? Yeah.
Exactly. What you just said is unbelievably interesting. Could be the case. I don't like that every aspect of this show is left up to interpretation.
Didn't explain it. They had it. At least this season. They didn't have They had a scene where I watched every Dothraki die, and then 2 episodes later, there's like 300 plus Dothraki.
It just looks like bad writing if you're not going to explain it.
Right? Yeah, that would have been. That would have been easy to explain, even visually. You know,
yeah.
There's
if you gave us a shot of them coming in on boats or something, anything, showing us that there was more, and you didn't just forget you killed them all in a scene.
I was under the impression that like, oh man, Dany had like mountains upon mountains of CGI armies that she has, and then when she went to go talk to Cersei, she had like 20, and I was like, that's it. Yeah. That's all she has. But no, just kidding. She had plenty.
And here's the thing, I was willing to accept, like, when the battle for King's Landing started, there was more Unsullied than we saw when she was just going to talk to Cersei, to like talk, have Tyrion talk to Cersei. You brought up the point, like, maybe this is just the welcome wagon army.
Right, yeah.
And I would have been okay with that.
I believe I said that in the episode.
Yeah. And I would have been okay with that, but then it's like, yeah, but she just has a million more.
Right.
They were somewhere.
It's literally a video game. Like what's a bad example? Goombas. You fight 1,000 Goombas, and you're like, is this all the Goombas there are? And it's like, no, he has infinite Goombas because they're made of code,
right?
And he's fake, and you're gonna fight all the fucking Goombas he wants you to.
It's just there's a lot of it's not artistic after a while. At some point, just make an explanation, or it doesn't make sense.
When it feels like they're going out of their way to rush a final season so much that they're not explaining things that we are getting upset about, then it's not artistic.
Right.
Because, like I said, this season, take it on its own, look at the whole season as a whole, not a terrible season. Lot of bad decisions. I don't have as strong feelings about that one decision as people on Twitter do, but the Daenerys killing people.
Yeah.
But like, good season, like B+ season. Definitely not the best season. Lots of bad, some good. I forget where I was going with this. They rushed it, and they didn't have to. because they clearly didn't run out of money, because this was the
Right.
fucking most beautiful, like, what is CGI, what isn't season that we've had.
Imagine what a season 8 Game of Thrones Kickstarter would have looked like if they were like, "Oh man, we're running out of money."
Yeah.
It-
See, you bring up a different problem.
Yeah.
If they did do a Kickstarter and got like $1 trillion and then shit out this season, then I would have been angry, because it's like, you had all that money I gave you.
Right.
That's what happened with Mighty Number 9. We all collectively gave Mighty Number 9 like $45 million, and there was a shitty 2-hour game that no one bought, and it was super bad. And we were like, what the fuck did you do with all that money?
Yeah.
Did you use the money to fund the TV show that got canceled? Are we done talking about the episode? Have we?
Yeah.
Have we said
Worst
everything
after the credits next episode ever.
Oh yeah. So in lieu of that, I want us to, because Game of Thrones is done, I want us to have a little discussion about a few things. So I have 3 questions, and I will go first because I didn't prepare you for this. If you want.
Okay.
So I want to know your favorite season. I want to know your favorite episode, and I want to know your favorite character over the whole series.
Okay.
So my favorite season is, I believe it's season 5. It's the one where, or maybe season 6, the season where Daenerys is finally in Westeros. The one where in episode 1 she touches down where Stannis was, and then the whole season is, it goes on from there. That is my favorite season. I think it was season 7. I think I like the flow. It was a little fast paced, but I didn't mind it. I like that, like, Jon and that was the first season where like a bunch of characters like the Mountain and the Hound see each other for the first time again, and like Tyrion and Dany really feel like a team that season. And I like the whole, like, not the will they won't they of Jon and Dany, because I don't care, but I do like the will they won't they partner up on this whole Game of Thrones thing.
Yeah.
My favorite episode is Blackwater, season 2, episode 7, the
That's a
Battle of
good one.
Blackwater Bay. That there's rarely an episode of, like, a single episode of a TV show that I'll watch multiple times. That one I've seen maybe 6 times, because just like, you don't have to be a fan of Game of Thrones to like that episode. Have you ever seen Lord of the Rings? Did you think it was okay? Would you give Lord of the Rings a C+? Then you'll like the Battle of Blackwater Bay.
Yeah.
My favorite character, I know I talk about Jaime a lot, but if I'm looking at the whole series as a whole, gotta say Arya. Arya, she got a little weird in season 5 when she was trying to become faceless, but it was a natural, rather necessary, like, arc for her to become this awesome I can steal whoever's face I want character. But like overall, from season 1, pretty much from season 1 episode 9 until now, it's my favorite character.
Okay. That sounds good to me. Can you give me the questions again?
Favorite season.
Okay. Favorite season? I'm not saying it's the best season, but
Right, yeah. A lot of people, sorry, if I may take
Yeah.
this opportunity to say this, a lot of people get that confused, not just with Game of Thrones. There's a difference between favorite and best.
yeah.
I'll use Marvel movies as an example. The best Marvel movie is Infinity War. My favorite Marvel movie is Civil War. Like, it's just different, you know?
Yeah.
Zelda. The best Zelda game is Breath of the Wild, hands down. No one can dispute that. That is a fact. My favorite Zelda game is Wind Waker. You know?
Okay.
It's just, you know, it's easy to confuse those, I think.
Yeah.
But anyways, what were you going to say?
My favorite season in retrospect is season 1.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about a solid season of television.
Yeah.
Man, this Ned Stark character is getting a lot of scenes. I like him a lot.
Can I talk about my favorite?
Sure, sorry.
Favorite season?
I wasn't making fun of you, by the way. I was like the generic person watching Game of Thrones.
I just you get a lot of background. You think things are as bad as they're gonna get, and it gets so much worse. In retrospect, they had it the best. Everybody had it the best in season 1, and nobody knew it.
Yeah.
Robert, up until I can only assume Bran, was the best king they were gonna have for a very long time.
Yeah.
And nobody gave him any respect or credit for it. The guy never had a war, except for the
one he won pretty much single-handedly.
the one he won, and apparently there was There was a Greyjoy rebellion, which he handled off screen. No pillaging. The only thing he wanted taken care of was to kill a woman who got killed in the end anyways. And everybody fought him on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. His one... Sorry, I keep cutting you off. I'm just excited. His one, I'd say, bad decision, everyone was like, no. That's a bad decision.
Right. Exactly. And it ended up being the only decision that was going to save Westeros.
Yeah, in hindsight.
Right. But that's my point, is it's just all in hindsight. Also, there's a lot of similarities between 1 and 8. Like, in the first episode of Season 1, it ends with Jaime and Bran. The first episode of Season 8, it ends with Jaime and Bran.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff like that.
That's pretty good. That shit you don't even think of.
Yeah. It was a good season. Favorite character? I'm gonna have to say Tyrion.
Ooh,
at this point.
It
was gonna be Jon Snow.
Yeah, I was very interested to see why you didn't say Jon Snow.
I just, as a character, as far as the TV show's given me, I'm extremely unsatisfied with his ending. I think he should have manned up a little earlier in Season 8. I think it was ridiculous how blinded he was. They don't give a good explanation for that.
Right.
He wasn't in love with her anymore.
No, yeah, exactly.
There was no reason for him to not understand what was going on.
And you brought up a good point that I didn't even think of. When he was being brought back to the Night Watch, you said he literally died so he didn't have to do this anymore.
Right. I feel like there should be some sort of loophole there. Like... Because it's till death.
I think
there
was.
Died once.
I think that's why the Night Watch was like, nah, just go with the Wild Ones.
Yeah,
that'd
be super cool. But I have technically have no idea that that's what happened.
Yeah. So sorry.
Tyrion played the best game.
I mean,
he talked his way out of every single situation.
Yeah.
There's no other character who's been in jail and been sentenced to death more than him.
Right.
And he used his words to get out of every single one. Even the one he talked to Jon Snow. If he didn't talk to Jon Snow, he'd be dead.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, it really can be like a lot of decisions that a bunch of characters made that you were like, that was a good decision, can be led back to
Tyrion telling him
told him something.
Yeah, even Bran becoming king. Grey Worm brought him there and was like, hey, don't say a word. And Tyrion was like, no, I'm going to talk. And then, oh, look at that. Somewhat democracy.
Look at that. Everything turned out just fine.
Yeah. He's my favorite character. Favorite episode is Battle of the Bastards.
Interesting. This is a good episode.
Yeah.
Sad end for the last living giant.
Yeah, who probably would have been my favorite character if he lived longer.
If he had one line ever.
He did.
Oh, did he?
But
he didn't talk English, right?
He didn't speak English. Yeah. But he did talk. He threatened a night watchman.
No, I think Battle of the Bastards is one of the more satisfying ones, because you get to see the character who everyone was rooting for, who just died and came back to life, kill the main villain that everyone hated.
You don't know how he's going to get out of it, too.
Right.
There's solid 20 minutes of that episode where you're like, he's going to die again.
Dude, yeah, there's the scene where he's getting trampled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just surrounded. And the funny part is, it should have been an even fight, but his opponent didn't care about the lives of his own soldiers.
Right.
So he just berated the entire battlefield with arrows. That's messed up. That's an awful way to win. And it was so satisfying when backup comes and saves him, and it was a good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, you got me thinking about season 1. Season 1 had it had a lot of how do I put this? It had a lot of scenes that were just talking that were super interesting. 2 of my favorite scenes in all of Game of Thrones. It's the one where Daenerys' brother is in a bathtub and he's telling his story to one of the girls that he's with, and then at the end of the story he's mean to her about something. I forget what it is. That scene is fascinating and I love it. My favorite scene in all of Game of Thrones is the one where Tywin and Jamie are talking, and the whole time Tywin is skinning a deer, like very adequately and accurately skinning a deer. But the conversation they're having is so interesting. I've seen that scene like so many times because I just keep looking it up.
I'll listen to that scene.
Yeah.
All right. You feeling good?
Yeah, that's an episode. So no more of these, obviously. If people like these, we can pick a different show.
Yeah.
To do this too.
Regardless, there will still be cinematic relief.
Oh yeah, of course. Actually, this week, 2 days from now,
Endgame?
No, that's already out.
Oh, awesome.
2 weeks from now is our top 10 movies of all time.
Oh, cool.
I haven't edited it yet, but I'm gonna do that today, as long as I don't die of heat exhaustion in this room.
Yes.
But yeah, that'll do it for us. I've been Thunder.
I'm Light.
And we'll talk to you whenever.